Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Laura and I am a real estate investor and an Airbnb host, and I'm showing you everything that you need to know to build wealth through short-term rentals. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about how to retire early through short-term rentals. Being able to leave a 9-to-5 through real estate investing is not a new concept. However, what is a new concept is that you can do this a lot faster through short-term rentals than you can through long-term. And the reason for this is because you have such high profit margins in the short-term rental market. And that's because it's not an entirely passive investment like long-term real estate is, where you kind of set it and forget it. You fix a home, you find a good renter, you rent it to them, and then occasionally you might need to fix some items, and occasionally you'll need to get in a new renter when your renters leave. It's largely passive. And the thing to understand about short-term rentals is that they give you the higher profits because they are not entirely passive. But if you do them right, they absolutely can be. And you can retire in 3 to 5 years, earning tens of thousands of dollars a month. So what I'm gonna do today is to give you the exact blueprint that I myself am following to be able to leave my 9-to-5 within 3 years. I'm gonna share a ton of knowledge in this video, so you may wanna take some notes and even favorite this video so that you can watch it again. The first thing that you need to know is, where do you wanna go? How much money do you wanna make? And in how much time? This is your larger vision. And that should be based on what would you be comfortable living on, and what would allow you to live the lifestyle that you want to live when you no longer have a job. Do you want to be able to travel? Do you want to be able to buy whatever you want? Or do you just want to be comfortable, pay your bills, and have a little bit extra to cover your expenses? Those are two different sides of the same coin, and you've got to figure out what it is that you want. Because once you identify that, we're just gonna reverse engineer your plan to get you there. And that reverse engineering is what's gonna be your plan. So let's say that you wanna earn $20,000 per month and you wanna do that within 5 years. So let's assume that a safe profit goal for a short-term rental is $2,000 a month, which for one listing over an entire year would be $24,000. So that $2,000 a month, if you want 20,000, it means you're gonna need 10 listings. And if you wanna reach that goal in 5 years, you're gonna need to acquire and launch 2 listings per year. So you can see that while $20,000 a month, it seems like really big and unattainable when you think about it in the abstract. When you break it down from a revenue goal as well as a timeline goal, you see that it's actually not that complicated and it is really attainable. Now, the thing that you need to keep in mind is that you need to make sure that the properties you're going to be acquiring are going to hit that $2,000 profit goal. So you're going to have to be sure that you are taking out mortgage, utilities, maintenance, any of those other expenses, and what's left over is that $2,000. And for me, for each of my listings, I'm hitting that comfortably. So I know that that is a very safe goal for me to have, so that it means I just need my 10 listings that are hitting that goal and I'm free. And if you're doing 2 per year, it's never gonna work out this simply, but mathematically, that means every 6 months you are acquiring a new property and getting it ready and then listing it on the short-term rental sites like Airbnb and VRBO, which frankly is pretty attainable. Even if each of those properties you need to do some rehab, 6 months is a reasonable amount of time for something that needs some cosmetic fixes. And that's probably why you should not be looking at acquiring properties that are complete gut jobs that are gonna take you, 6 months or longer to get online. You want something that's gonna be about half of that, so that it gives you time to acquire all of the furniture and the time that it's gonna take to deliver that, get everything put in the home, stage it properly, get photographs. I mean, that process does take some time. So within that 6-month window, you're not only having to acquire the property itself and get it rehabbed and remodeled, you're also having to get it ready to be listed. So you really want properties that are pretty nearly ready to go, or they just need some cosmetic upgrades, maybe some flooring, some paint, some minor fixes, but nothing that's gonna require a ton of time to get it fixed. All right, so once you have your revenue goal, the timeline that it's going to take you to get there, and then how many properties you would need to acquire each year, now you are gonna have to identify what market you wanna be in and what niche you wanna be in. And here's the important part. You're gonna wanna specialize. Once you identify your market and your niche, your type of property, don't stray from that, because you are going to be able to do this in such a way where you are getting efficiencies because you know how to do it. Once you've done 1, 2, or 3 of these, you're pretty much going to be on autopilot, and it will get faster and potentially even cheaper for you to get these things done, because you're gonna have some efficiencies in terms of you're gonna know the contractors, you're gonna know the materials, right? You're gonna have a more predictable timeline and a more predictable project scope to get it done. And that's part of the reason why you want to specialize in both the market as well as the niche. And when it comes to the market, there are some criteria that you really should be hitting to make sure that it's a good market to invest in. You want a great local economy with job growth, population growth. You want it to be close to major urban areas and things like airports. Now, because you're doing short-term rentals, you also want it to be in a location where people have a reason to visit. And those reasons could be a national park, a state park, or other local attractions like wineries and cute towns that people like to visit because there is something special about that place, and that's called an eclectic town. Being so close to all of these things means that your place is going to have lots of variety available for your guests and is going to attract a wider audience, which means that you are much more likely to be busy year-round and suffer less seasonal highs and lows, but you can be more steady, which means you are gonna make more money. For me, an area that ticks all of those boxes is the Shenandoah Valley area, which is about 2 hours southwest of Washington, D.C., and I also invest in the broader D.C., Maryland, and Virginia area. And the reason that I do that is it ticks all those boxes that I mentioned before. Great local economy, lots of different attractions, and lots of growth in population. And there are a few reasons for that. One is because this area is where the federal government is located. So they employ lots of government employees, lots of government contractors, and all of these workers earn high salaries, and they have the disposable income to be able to spend it on things like weekend getaways. And because I'm a 2-hour distance, they don't have to get on a plane. They can hop in their car, single tank of gas, and be at any one of my listings. Investing in an area that has a strong local economy that also attract tourists makes it much more likely that you are going to encounter regulations that limit or even prohibit short-term rentals. The reason is because a part of the local economy depends on the dollars from tourists. So you're much more likely to find a very friendly regulatory environment. Now, that's not true for all places, but I think you're going to be much more likely to find a friendly regulatory environment than major urban centers have. Be sure to do your research to identify whether there are limitations on short-term rentals in your area, whether you can have short-term rentals at all, or there are other limitations, including things like limitations on the number of nights that it can be rented as a vacation rental, or whether the owner has to also live on the premises. Okay, so that is the market aspect. Next, I want to talk about specializing in a niche, in a particular type of stay. The type of stay that I specialize in and that I recommend to others are unique stays and things like glamping. So this could include tiny homes, geodesic domes, A-frames, log cabins, mansions, safari tents, any other type of unique structure that in and of itself is a main attraction. Airbnb's website changes in the spring of 2022 really prioritized these types of stays, and they have categories at the top of their website that show each of these: tiny homes, cabins, etc. And you can capitalize on this by catering to those categories. Furthermore, Airbnb looked at what types of stays that website users were adding to their wish lists, and there was a 94% increase from 2019 to 2021 for unique stays. So these are the stays that really grab attention, that guests want to visit. The other reason why I recommend and invest in unique stays is because you're not competing with the housing market and the rental market. These are stays that are particularly catered to the vacationer. And so you're not taking available housing off the market, and you're not competing with communities. And so you're much more likely to find a friendly regulatory environment when that's the case. The third thing that you need to do to be able to retire early through short-term rentals is to build your dream team. The most important person on your dream team is your cleaner. Having a clean place and you not having to do it is the most important thing that you get established in your short-term rental. And finding someone who's reliable and can do the job well is the most important thing that you do before you're even ready to launch. Sites like Airbnb and Vrbo actually rate on cleanliness, which makes it critical that you get this right. And I can talk in another video about how to find and keep a great cleaner, but just know that your cleaner is the most important member of your team. Other members of your team include pest control, a handyman to fix things that occasionally get broken, and then you're gonna need a plumber and electrician and perhaps an HVAC person in the event that some of those big systems fail, because they will. One way that I avoid those big ticket items happening while guests are staying is I fix those things up front. But no system is perfect, so having those folks on hand is going to mean that you can get them out to your place quickly, and they can get the problem fixed right away, so that there's much less impact on your guest and impact on your review. And you can find these people through Yelp, but I actually prefer to find all of my team members through referral, and I can do that through my realtor. Another great place is local Facebook groups. You can ask for recommendations for any of these types of contractors, and you'll usually get some recommendations. Now, the last member of your team is the suite of software that you are going to need to automate your business. A smart pricing tool, a guest and cleaner messaging tool, a smart lock for self-check-in, and making sure that all of these systems integrate, they talk to one another. That's gonna be the key to make sure that your business is pretty hands-off, because once you set them up, you're not really going to have to tweak with them, and they are just gonna do their jobs. They are gonna automatically send messages to your guests when you say they need to, in terms of confirming their reservation, providing check-in instructions, check-out instructions, and asking for reviews. The software can also communicate with your cleaner to give them reminders of when guests are checking in and out. And then the smart locks are gonna make it so that you don't have to deal with keys and any issues with lost keys, because guests can just use the smart lock without any of that. One other piece of software, hardware and software, that I recommend is a Ring, and this is an exterior camera that can be part of a floodlight or a doorbell, and that helps you keep eyes on your property and make sure that it's safe. Having all of these key people and software in place means that I spend maybe 15 minutes a week managing each one of my properties, and I'm never dealing with big problems. It also means that my listings very consistently get 5-star reviews because they provide a very seamless experience for my guests. It's all helped me to become a superhost and run top performing listings on Airbnb and VRBO. The fourth thing that you need to do to be able to retire early through short-term rentals is to build a brand on social media. Make YouTube videos just like this one, have a presence on Instagram, sharing your knowledge. Because what you can do is you can start to build a community of people that, one, are rooting for your success, but two, could potentially become investment partners. People want to work with folks that know what they're doing. And the more that you can provide that social proof and establish yourself as a pro, the more that people are going to want to work with you.